24 hours after Red Bull showed up to Spa with a downgraded rear wing, a wing they were forced to bolt back on because the upgrade kept sending Max Verstappen into the barriers, he still qualified P2 at the Belgian Grand Prix, 0.37 seconds off pole, a teenager from Bologna on top, and Lando Norris just got nuked from the front row before the race even started. This weekend is already on fire. Let's set the table. Kimi Antonelli, 18 years old, 6 poles in 2026, planted a stunning final lap at Spa-Francorchamps to take pole position. Verstappen second, and Lando Norris, who was on provisional pole after the first Q3 runs, beating Antonelli by 0.039 seconds on that first flying lap, gets hit with a 10-place grid penalty for exceeding his control electronics allocation. Norris goes from 3rd on the timing sheet to 13th on the grid. That's the kind of Saturday F1 writes when it wants your attention. Now here's what the scoreboard doesn't tell you. Max Verstappen did not show up to Spa with a full deck. Red Bull's technical director Pierre Wache confirmed it openly. The team reverted to an older specification rear wing this weekend. Why? Because the updated version, the one that should have been faster, caused crashes for Verstappen in both Austria and Great Britain. 2 crashes, 2 separate races. The team pulled it. Wache's words, it is a little bit down on performance, but able to run on the car. That is the polished corporate version of saying we brought the safe wing, not the fast wing. And that is just the appetizer, because the way Verstappen actually got to P2, the mechanism behind that lap, is the part that tells you everything about how desperate and how clever Red Bull had to get on Saturday. Isack Hadjar, Verstappen's Red Bull teammate. He was already starting from the back of the grid. Power unit penalties, multiple elements exceeded. The grid couldn't have been more back for him. So Red Bull made a decision. Use him. In Q3, on Verstappen's final flying lap, Hadjar drove through Spa's flat-out final sector into that last chicane purely to give his teammate a tow, a slipstream, a free speed boost on the longest, fastest stretch of the circuit. That is a sacrifice lap. That is the driver being told your qualifying doesn't matter, your teammates does. And it worked. Verstappen extracted everything the reverted wing could give. P2, 0.317 off Antonelli. Without that tow and without that composure, the gap could have looked very different. And now we get to the real chaos, because Kimi Antonelli doesn't just have pole. He arrives at Spa with a 25-point championship lead over George Russell, his own Mercedes teammate. Russell qualified 4th, more than half a second behind Antonelli. After Norris's penalty, Russell starts 3rd on the grid. So in Sunday's race, you have the championship leader starting from pole, his nearest rival starting 3rd, and Verstappen running a downgraded wing on a safety-first setup, starting 2nd. Every point matters, every pass matters, and Spa does not do boring races. If you have watched this channel for more than 5 minutes, you know what this race weekend means for the title fight. Hit like right now. The algorithm needs to see that this story matters, and so do we. Your like is what keeps this kind of breakdown coming every race weekend. Here is what decides Sunday. Verstappen had a difficult Friday, gear shift problems, drove wide into a gravel trap, caused a red flag, finished 3rd in FP2 after topping FP1. He said after Friday that given the package Red Bull had, it was a good day, and that he hoped to find more pace by qualifying. He found it. P2 with a compromised car is not a disaster. But Spa's race is won and lost on strategy, on tire degradation, and on that first safety car. If Verstappen can get ahead of Antonelli before the pit window opens, Red Bull's deficit in pure pace becomes manageable. If Antonelli controls the front, leads clean, and Russell stays within striking distance, the championship gap could go to 40 points before the summer really bites. This race genuinely shapes the second half of 2026. What to watch next? Sunday, Belgian Grand Prix race start. Then we head into the summer break, which gives the teams time to regroup and gives Red Bull time to fix that faulty, updated rear wing. Before it comes back, Pierre Wache said the team understands the problem now and wants to bring the performance wing back as quickly as possible. The first race after the break will tell us whether Red Bull can close that performance gap to Mercedes in the championship fight, or whether Antonelli uses this period to build a lead that becomes unassailable. Watch the post-race team radio Sunday. Verstappen's reaction when the checkered flag drops will say more than any press conference. One question before you go, and I read every single reply. Does Verstappen get past Antonelli at the start on Sunday? Or does Kimi drive away clean and make it look easy? Drop your call below. P2 on a downgraded wing in Spa qualifying. Is that a Red Bull miracle or a Red Bull warning sign for the rest of the season?